Shalom, friends. I wanted to talk to you today about the surprising truth behind life as an author. From the outside, life as an author can look romantic. There's an image many people carry in their minds of a cozy desk by a window, coffee steaming beside a notebook, inspiration flowing effortlessly onto the page while birds chirp outside. Maybe there are book signings, interviews, and stacks of freshly printed books waiting to be shipped to eager readers. And yes, sometimes those moments exist. But the truth about life as an author is far more layered, complicated, surprising, and if I'm honest, invisible. When people discover that I'm an author, their reactions are usually some version of excitement or curiosity. They imagine that once a book is finished, the hardest part is over. The manuscript is written, the story is told, and everything else just sort of happens. I used to think something similar before I stepped into the world myself. What I have discovered instead is that writing a book is only one piece of the journey. In many ways, it's just the beginning. Life as an author is a strange blend of creativity, persistence, vulnerability, and problem solving. It is equal parts art and logistics. Some days I am writing from the heart, pouring out ideas that have been simmering for months. Other days I am neck deep in spreadsheets, editing software, cover profiles, formatting decisions, and marketing plans. Very little of this is visible to the reader. That is one of the reasons I decided to create this new series here on Healthy in Heart and on my website, The Author's Life Behind the Scenes, because the truth is there's a whole world behind every book that most people never see. Most readers experience only the finished product. They see the polished pages, the completed cover, and the title and the spine. But behind that finished book is a long chain of decisions, revisions, and small moments of determination, sometimes large moments of determination. Life as an author involves drafts that do not work, chapters that get rewritten, and ideas that evolve, and sometimes entire sections that completely disappear because they simply do not belong anymore. Writing is both deeply personal and unexpectedly technical. There are days when a single paragraph can take hours because the words have to carry more than information. They have to carry emotion, clarity, rhythm, tone, and truth. And there are days where everything flows quickly and beautifully as if the words have been waiting patiently for their turn. But writing itself is only the first visible layer. After that comes editing, structure decisions, formatting choices, design considerations, distribution decisions, and countless tiny details that most people never think about when they hold a book in their hands. The deeper I have gone into life as an author, the more I have realized that publishing is both creative and operational. It requires imagination and discipline in equal measure. Another surprising aspect of life as an author is the emotional journey that comes with it. Writing a book means putting pieces of yourself onto the page. Where the subject is personal experience, research, storytelling, or teaching, there's always some part of the author's voice woven into the words. That can feel both powerful and vulnerable. There's excitement when a chapter finally says exactly what it needs to say. There is relief when the final draft comes together. There's also uncertainty. Will readers understand what I'm trying to express? Will the message land the way I hope it would? These questions are part of the process, but there's also a quieter emotional rhythm to life as an author. Long stretches of focused work happen in solitude. Much of the progress is invisible. Sometimes months pass between the first idea and the moment anyone even knows the project exists. Writing teaches patience. It teaches the ability to keep moving forward even when the finish line is not yet visible. And one of the biggest surprises in life as an author is how many different roles an author ends up playing. At various points in the process, I've found myself acting as writer, editor, designer, researcher, marketer, problem solver, and project manager all in the same week, sometimes in the same day. A book involves far more moving parts than most readers ever imagine. There are questions about layouts and formatting, decisions about how a book that will look on different platforms, technical considerations that affect how the final file prints or displays digitally, Metadata, descriptions, keywords, categories, and distribution channels all play a role in how a book reaches its readers. None of these things are glamorous, but they're all part of the real life as an author. Behind every title on a shelf is a series of careful decisions that shape how the book enters the world. For a long time, I kept most of the process to myself and my husband, who is my decompression listener. The behind-the-scenes work felt like the quiet machinery of writing, necessary, but not particularly interesting to talk about. And then I started realizing something. Many readers are curious about how books actually come to life. Aspiring writers often have questions about what the process really looks like. And even long-term readers sometimes enjoy seeing the layers that exist beneath the finished page. And that is what inspired this series. In the author's life behind the scenes, I want to open the door a little wider and invite you into the world that exists beyond the cover of a book. Not to make the process seem complicated or intimidating, but to make it more honest. Life as an author is filled with surprises, lessons, small victories, and unexpected challenges. It is a journey that stretches far beyond the moment a manuscript is completed. And the truth is, I'm still learning. One of the most grounding aspects of life as an author is realizing that writing does not happen in a vacuum. It exists inside everyday life. Books are written between responsibilities, conversations, errands, meals, and moments of rest. Ideas arrive while walking, cooking, journaling, or reflecting quietly. Inspiration is rarely as tidy as the movies make it seem. Sometimes the best ideas appear at inconvenient times. Sometimes the words refuse to cooperate, and sometimes the writing flows in a way that feels effortless. The rhythm of creative work is rarely linear, but over time, a beautiful pattern begins to emerge, page by page, sentence by sentence, and something meaningful takes shape. That process, while slow, imperfect, and deeply human, is the heart of being an author. For all the complexity involved, there's also something deeply rewarding about writing. Holding a finished book in your hands carries a quiet sense of wonder. What once existed only as sacred scattered notes and ideas and rough drafts has become something tangible. A book becomes a conversation that travels far beyond the moment it was written. Someone might read it next week. Someone might discover it years later. Someone may discover it centuries later. The words may land in a moment when a reader needs them the most. That possibility makes the long journey worthwhile. Life as an author is not about writing pages. It's about creating something that can move through the world and touch other lives in ways that we never fully see. So this category, the author's life behind the scenes, is an invitation. In the weeks ahead, I will be sharing reflections from the hidden side of the writing life and the things I've learned, the surprises I've encountered, and the realities that rarely make it into the published conversations about books. So if you ever wonder what it's really like to live as an author, this space will offer a glimpse into that world, not the glossy version. Definitely not the glossy version, the real one though. Behind every book, there is a story that begins long before the first page and continues long after the last. And sometimes the most interesting chapters are the ones the readers never see. So I hope you come along with me for the ride. And until next time, remember to stay healthy in heart.